Grace and peace to you, friends and neighbors. You have met in small circles this past fall in your homes and in your churches, and you told stories, you heard the stories of your friends and neighbors. And this is not the first time we've done that. Maybe for some of you it was. And I want to remind you that that is where our work has begun, as we come to ask for commitments from our leaders, as we come to follow in that way that we believe that God calls us to do justice. And so we've asked for that commitment tonight, and unlike in years past, we've gotten lots of yeses. We've gotten lots of leaders to show up and to be present. You've heard those yeses just now on looking for viable microtransit, of improving transportation. Improving transportation, especially for those people who in the past 2 years we have deemed essential, who struggle to get to their jobs, who in our streets are trying to find their way and make their way. And you have heard our superintendent of education come and make promises to say, yes, I will commit to passing on this work. And we honor the work that he has done to make data clear and available. It's because of you we had that. I hope you understand when we say having clear, available data, that's a big change. We had unclear data before. We had unreported data before. And now because of you coming out in that tradition of Nehemiah, of calling a great assembly, of being that great assembly, of exercising that people power, we have put that positive pressure on, as Mayor Kincannon called it, that positive pressure that keeps holding these issues in front of people. I want to summarize and point out that in this summary that you did notice that as our education leaders were leaving, they stopped for a moment. Thank you, Elder Maddox. You brought it to a halt. So we did notice this. In that data we have seen, and in our experience and the discussion of that data, we have continued to see the stories of scarcity, the fear, the complexification of things. It's a complex issue. What can we do? And when I face those hard moments, when I face those complex issues, I think about those streets where those people are trying to get to work, where those kids are trying to get to school, and some of them are bleeding out in our streets. That is why we do this work. I'm reminded of Isaiah speaking for the Lord. He said, you'll return to that place where the walls have been broken down, and you will be the mender of those walls. You will be the restorer of streets to live in. And that is what we are doing as people of faith tonight. And as people of faith, from whatever tradition you come from, I hope you realize that our faith is about having that audacity of hope. That when the voices around us say that that's too complex, that's too hard, that's a big problem, it's not my issue, we shouldn't talk about that, that makes me feel bad and guilty. That we are the people who have that audacity. And so I speak from my own tradition right now, the Christian tradition in which we are keeping the great 50 days of Easter. And as I was reading those stories of the resurrection of Jesus, I noticed something clearly for the first time. You know, when Jesus was resurrected from the dead and he appeared to his disciples, he didn't make a big deal out of being resurrected. It's kind of strange. He didn't say, hey, look, I'm back, I'm alive. mean, he showed him his wounds, and here I am, and immediately started commissioning them, saying, okay, I'm back, I'm alive, I'm going, it's going to be different, but you're going to have that spirit that I have. I'm going to give that to you. I'm going to give you that power to do what I did. I'm telling you right now to go forgive, unbind that which is bound. And that is the work we are doing as people of faith. We are unbinding that which has been bound by the lies of scarcity, of fear, of saying things are too complex, of naming and blaming the victims. So we have gotten a lot of yeses tonight, but as we've also said, we don't stop here. We continue to do this work. So I encourage you to continue in this work of doing justice, to continue with that audacity of hope. That hope that you're showing up tonight makes a difference, that it puts that positive pressure that unbinds you, that unbinds our neighbors, that brings us into that full life of justice. Justice? Yes. Justice? Yes. Justice?